Welcome back to the channel, YouTube gang. Y'all already know I'm your host, Major, and this is the Dawg House, and we back live, man. And this is the Dawg House Tap In Show. Now, somebody requested this in one of my lives previously, and I thought about it and I said, well, why not, man? Why not just do a tap in show where we can sit back and chop it up about these Georgia Bulldogs? So if you feeling like you want to chop it up with your boy Major, man, y'all make sure y'all hit the tap in. Hit 803-563-7193 where you could tap in and chop it up with your guy, man. We talking about anything. You know, if you want to talk about Auburn, 225 girl, what it is. If you want to talk about Auburn, you want to talk about whatever, just make sure you tap in. Like I said, if you didn't see the thumbnail or if you're not in the chat, man, the tap in number is 803-563-7193, man. And shout out to all of my subscribers, everybody that tap in, everybody that participate in the chat, man. Y'all are definitely helping this channel grow. And if you are a subscriber, you can help the Dawg House grow by donating to the channel with a super chat or even the cash app. Any amount counts, you know what I'm saying? It's just all to help the channel grow. My last live went up, man. I appreciate everybody that, participated, everybody that enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the show. I watched it like 2 different times. I enjoyed it. So, I appreciate y'all, man. We trying to move this show. We trying to get this thing going. I know a lot of y'all probably be scared to tap in, so I'm gonna just move on from that and just start talking about Auburn because that's the latest thing right now. With Georgia on the road, 7:30, Auburn Tigers. What are we gonna do to stop them Auburn Tigers? The biggest thing that I've been hearing from Auburn is their pass rush. That's probably the biggest asset that they have going on right now, as well as Cam Coleman. The last game that I saw him play was against Oklahoma, and he wasn't allowed very much to do against Oklahoma, but I did see the talent, and he's one of those big, tall frame guys, NFL-style wide receivers, I believe, that can go up there and get it. And with us having trouble with our DBs, that kind of makes you nervous, right? With Dalen Everett chasing down his receiver. Ellis Robinson clearly is not doing very well, but I kind of give him a pass just because, he's getting experience. Daniel Harris, I don't know if he's going to be questionable or if he's going to get to start this game. Obviously, he had a groin injury that really, kind of cost us because we don't get to rotate him and Ellis Robinson out. So hopefully we see something. Hopefully something changes within this team. And I also like the fact of what Kirby said about he wanting Gunner Stockton to take risks. I think he kind of feel like everybody else feeling in this part of the season where we knee deep in the middle of this season, and it's time to go ahead and start taking risks. Like it's time to cut back with trying to establish him as a pocket passer and kind of turn him loose a little bit, and that's what I've been wanting to see from him. I never looked at him as one of those guys to sit in the pocket and just sling it around everywhere. And the fact that Kirby did speak on the fact that he wanted to see him take more risks, I feel like that's a good thing. Things can turn upside down from that, but it also it can help us, right, if he end up playing his game. So hopefully that does happen. I'm glad that Kirby finally just chose to say, what, it's just time to take some risks. It's time to let it all out the bag. We don't have time to be sitting back trying to figure stuff out. No, let's get to it. We already at the point where we don't know. It can be 50-50 with either team outside of Charlotte. For the rest of the season, it could be 50-50 as far as a win or lose situation. So we got to get straight to it, man. Ain't no more playing now. It could be a situation, or 225 girl said it could be a situation, or it wouldn't surprise me that the DB struggled with the wide outs in the first half, but figured it out in the second half. That seems to be our MO. Yeah, I'm just hoping we can do it in the first half. I'm tired of watching games where we have to rely on, the saying that we're a second half team. And that's the way it's been seeming. That's why we go with that narrative, because that's the way it seemed, like we're a second half type of team. But I'm tired of seeing that. I'm tired of going through that because, Georgia, at this point, Georgia is not looking like a threat. And a lot of teams is noticing it. You think we the only ones that notice that in the first half on offense, Georgia is not a threat. That's why I said I'm glad about Kirby Smart choosing to, let it all out and let Gunner go out there and kind of, like you said, take risks. At the end of the day, just take some risk. It's about that time. We done played enough teams. Obviously, I feel like we played the two of the toughest teams in the SEC in Tennessee and Alabama, which we lost to Alabama. We probably should have lost to Tennessee, but we still hung in there. We hung in there against Tennessee. We also hung in there against Alabama in the second half. We shut them down. So I think that it can happen. We just need to go ahead and start fast. I mean, that's the whole point. Like with every team in the SEC, I feel like you got to start fast, especially when you're on the road. You can't be with all that sluggish stuff, and that's what I've been seeing lately. I don't know what the deal is. I feel like the offense is at a good pace. They just can't really find nothing downfield, but the defense, I feel like the defense, the first team and second team, although the second team against Kentucky, the second team came out, fresh legs, ready to go. But after a while, the second team started looking sluggish as hell. So I just don't be knowing what to think half the time. And like I said again, y'all, if you want to tap in and chop it up, about whatever you want to talk about, long as you're respectful, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and tap in at 803-563-7193 where you can chop it up with your dog. All right, 225 Girl said the second half of the season, now we can play not to lose moving forward, not if you want to make the playoffs. You said the second half of the season, now can't play not to lose moving forward, not if you want to make the playoff. Yeah, like I say, I think this part of the season is time to get it in. We've done seen what we can do playing conservative. We saw that, and I feel like that's what they've been doing with Gunner Stockton. Is kind of playing conservative, kind of trying to establish him as a thrower, and I don't think we've succeeded with that. Outside of the few little passes, mid-range passes that he's thrown, I don't see us being that type of team where we can throw it a million times like when Carson Beck was behind center. I don't see that in this type of team. Not this season. If he comes back for another season, obviously with plenty of experience, maybe so, but as of right now, no. I want to see him get out there and run around a little bit, even though I don't even feel like he's very fast. And I think a lot of channels now is starting to discover that. Well, Dawgg coverage channels, they starting to discover that also, that he's not very fast. But I also spoke on that previously also. So I'm not saying that I'm Nostradamus and I can predict the future or nothing like that. But at the same time, when I see these games, I'm actually watching majority of the players, and I'm actually watching what they do on the field versus just trying to come on here and give y'all content. No, I'm actually watching what's going on, and that's the first thing that I noticed, that, wait a minute, Gunner Stockton is not that fast, and I talked about that probably 2 weekends ago. Like, he's not very fast. Like, a lot of people think that he is, and it's weird because I get on different social media platforms and I look at comment sections to see what everybody talking about, see if I can get some different ideas on this team, because I tend to not want to think one way about this team, one-dimensional, even though I feel like that's what the offense is one-dimensional. But I try not to look at it through just my viewpoint. I try to find other people's viewpoint to try to see if, but I'm not seeing anything. I see a lot of people caping for Gunner Stockton. I see a lot of people that don't want to, be honest about Gunner Stockton. And, he's not a bad quarterback. I'm not saying that he's a bad quarterback. I'm just saying, in my opinion, we haven't seen enough to say that he's a good quarterback. I think he's a manager. Me and my guy that I talk to at work, we talk all the time about this, and he's from Georgia. He actually lives in Georgia. He just come to the hospital and he come and do his little thing at the hospital, whatever. But we talk about it all the time, how, Gunner Stockton is okay. He's an okay quarterback. He's a manager. It's kind of like Jake Fromm's situation, even though Jake Fromm to me was a little better, especially off that back shoulder pass. That was where he was great at, in my opinion. But outside of that, he was a great manager also. But I feel like Gunnar Stockton is taking that same path is being just a great manager, and he's doing pretty good at that. You know, he just recently turned the ball over against Kentucky, I think, right? Wasn't it Kentucky or Alabama? I think it was Kentucky, but you know, he threw his first interception, and you know, I don't really hang him for that. You know, I just say that, you know, stuff happens, right? So at the end of the day, I don't think he's the type of player that's going to be like a turnover king, and hopefully that doesn't happen whenever he gets out there against Auburn and start taking the risk that Kirby Smart is saying in the press conference that he want to see him take. So hopefully, you know, we see a different type of Gunnar Stockton. You know, that's just how I feel. I want to see a different type of Gunnar Stockton this game. I think all of us are ready to see something different, especially even the ones that do really believe in Gunnar. I think they want to see something different also. I think they just want to have so much faith in him to the point where they don't want to talk negative about him at any point. And me, I'm just not that type of guy. You know, I expect excellence from this Dawg team. You know, even I'm spoiled. You know what I mean? I know I call our fan base out and speak about how spoiled we are, but even I'm spoiled to a certain extent, right? Even I'm used to winning games. I'm used to dominating teams, right? So that's what I expect. And if that's not you, then yeah, and especially with money being spread around the dogs, right? Like this is like I always speak on, this is a business now. It's time to get to the business. It's time to treat it like a business. It's cool to have relationships with this player, that player, whatever the case may be, but it's a business. So if this guy, you know, outside of not turning the ball over, you know, what else is he really doing for this team? You know, outside of turning the ball over, he's not really making no major NFL style type of throws that, you know, can help us win games or anything like that. It's nothing that our quarterback is actually doing outside of managing this team. Or the offense. That's really all he's doing. Like, and I don't want to hackle him because of that, because he's doing a good job at it. I just feel like if there's somebody else that may give us a better chance, then why not give him a shot? And let's go back to the defense too, because I know a lot of people like to shy away from the Gunner talk and they want to, you know, stick with the defense. So let's go to the defense, right? You know, the defense, as far as the whole defense as a whole, I don't feel like are great. I feel like the whole defense need a lot of work. All of these guys, Christian Miller, I know Jordan Hall, I think he got hurt, one of those Jordans got hurt, and you know, just all of those guys on the front seven, you know, nobody giving pressure. That's a big issue. So, you know, outside of the offense, the defense is the main problem, I think, for these Georgia Bulldogs, because I feel like, you know, the old saying, and it's still a saying in my opinion, that defenses win games. And if you don't have a good defense, you know, you left out to dry. And it's like the DBs is like terrible. Like, who do they have outside of Dalen Everett? You know, Dalen Everett and Ellis Robinson are the main two guys that are holding us back, in my opinion, as well as Daniel Harris. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's questionable or not, because I know he had a groin injury, so I don't know if he's going to be out for this game either, you know, but I still feel like Ellis Robinson needs somebody to rotate with until he can finally get it right. But who are we rotating out with Dalen Everett? I feel like it's got to be somebody back there, right? You know, that's our main thing. That's what we specialize in, is recruiting at a high level on the defense. So why is Dalen Everett still on the field every single snap? And I think he was a 5-star also, but, you know, he's been with the team for a while now. He's still looking the same. You know, him and Ellis Robinson both, they still chasing down receivers. It's like, man, if you do this against Auburn, they're going to pick you apart also. You know what I mean? You're going to have, what's his name, Jackson Arnold or whatever his name is, you're going to have him looking like Tom Brady out there. And I could see that happening, because at the end of the day, if you got terrible DBs, then what you expect? You know, they just going to do the same thing that Joey Aguilar did, the same thing Ty Simpson did. It's going to be the same situation, the same outcome. And that's what it's been, the same type of outcome. So the main thing I guess I could say about this team is that we need to really get it together on defense. And I think, you know, I understand where Kirby came from with the whole, you know, taking risks with Gunnar Stockton. I get that, because he knows that defense ain't as good as they should be or they could be. So he need this offense, you know what I mean, to carry the load, basically. he at this point we're gonna have to carry the offense is gonna have to carry the load because you can't if your defense ain't doing good, then your offense need to be able to score. But if both sides ain't doing nothing, you know, defense ain't causing no turnovers or no getting no pick sixes. The offense is barely scoring. Like that's a recipe for disaster. So it's like at the end of the day, this team right here could be one of the worst. You know, by the end of the season, we will be judging which season was the worst, this season or Kirby Smart's first season with the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, I think the first season he went 8-4, 8-5. This season right here, I'm hearing so many different people talking about, you know, Kirby Smart speaks on how talented this team is, and I'm like, okay, if they're so talented in practice, why doesn't it resonate on game day? Like, I don't care to hear about how well they do in practice if it doesn't show up on game day. Like, it don't make sense to me, you know? That, like, I know people be trying to cover the Dogs and they want to keep people in good spirit about the Dogs. And, you know, over here at my channel, you know, I'm kind of a little more harsh and gutter when it comes to the Dogs. But at the same time, at least you getting real, honest energy from me instead of people just telling you that, you know, all of these good things about Georgia that's not showing up week to week. It's not really showing up. So it's like, you know, it is what it is. Some people gonna like this channel, some people not gonna like this channel. But what I do appreciate is the people that love this channel and the people that continue to, you know, come to the channel and support the channel and be engaging with me, because it helps me and it helps the channel grow. That's a big concern. The defense making Arnold look like something he isn't. You think this being a rival game, the Dogs might play out their minds with rivalry games? Anything can happen. Yeah, I think Kirby Smart is good at, you know, making players buy into rivalry games, making players buy into the mission at Georgia of, you know, we won't be hunted, we do the hunting. I think most players do buy into that. You know, Kirby Smart is not an old coach, so most guys can resonate with him. And I think we will beat Auburn. I think it's probably going to be another close scoring game, and it may even come down to the wire. You know what I mean? Jackson Arnold know how to use his legs. I hope I'm saying his first name correctly. I don't know if it's Jackson or whatever, but you know, I know that he's able to use his legs, and that's one of the big things that the defense is going to have to pay attention to, especially, you know, with the fact that he can use his legs. Then he also got Cam Coleman over there to be able to throw to. So it's going to be another task and another test for the Georgia Bulldogs defense. Once again, like I told y'all in the previous live before that, I feel like the rest of this season is going to be full of tests. Outside of Charlotte, every game this season is going to be tests. I know people that cover the Dogs, they like to speak on other teams and who's not doing that well. Well, Georgia is not doing that well either. You know what I mean? I heard somebody talking about Arch Manning. Well, Gunnar Stockton is not doing that well either. Somebody said, well, he got a better QBR rate. Well, that comes from a guy that's not really throwing the ball as much. Of course, his QBR rate is going to be higher than the person that's throwing it 10 to 20 times more than he is. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's not a thing of me hackling Gunnar Stockton. It's more of people got to stop trying to call out other teams or other quarterbacks when we obviously had a problem over here at the University of Georgia also. Defense, in my opinion, not so much offense, not so much Gunnar Stockton, but at the same time, like I said, if your defense is not showing up, the offense have to. Just like the defense showed up against Alabama in the second half and shut them out, what did the offense do? The offense choked. The offense completely choked. Now, we can say, oh, it was a play call here with, you know, Cash Jones, and why did they run Cash Jones? Or you could say this or you could say that, and that can make a difference if they didn't choose to run that type of play. But at the end of the day, the game was lost at the end of the day. So that tells me that the offense had multiple times to turn it around if they wanted to. They had a lot of chances to turn it around. You know, even Alabama's second half defense stepped their game up. So I can't just put it all on our offense and say that we wasn't doing anything, but at the same time, the defense held it down for you. You know what I mean? You got to play complementary football. It's hard to say that word, but you got to, you know, and that's didn't happen. And I hope that we, obviously we had to have learned from our mistake. And against Kentucky, we should have completely blew them out the water, and we didn't. Even though it was technically it was a blowout, but we should have blew them further out the water than what we did, and we didn't even do that against a bad Kentucky team. Now Kentucky normally play us very physical, very tough every single season, even if they're not one of the best teams in the SEC. But even with that game, I still felt like, wait a minute, you're playing unranked 2-2 bad Kentucky team, and you still seem to be having some trouble with them, even though they played okay that game. They did, but to me it was just a slow burning win for me. It wasn't an ugly win, but it was just a slow burning win that I felt like we should have been took them off the face of the earth and closed that game out. But, we still end up with the W, so it is what it is. We just moving on. But I'm just kind of trying to go back in different games to get people to realize, like, I know a lot of people convince y'all to believe that this team is so much better than what we're seeing week after week. But this is what we're seeing this type of team is what we're seeing week after week. We're not seeing what they see in practice. So, in my opinion, practice really don't matter. Only thing that matters, practice matters in the off season, right? That's when practice matters, in the off season. It also matters in the regular season, but to the fan base and to the committee, it does not matter unless you're doing it game day. Like, so we can sit here and talk about practice and, oh, they look so good and they're so talented and this, that, and the third, but it got to show up game day, right? And like I say, it's not just us, it's also the committee. So a lot of times when you see us dropping the AP poll and things like that, and you wonder why this team is higher than us and that team is higher than us, it's because of the way they are playing. You know what I mean? They're playing dominant. They may not play dominant the whole game, but they're showing that they can be a championship team. And like my guy I was telling y'all about earlier, he was telling me like he just didn't feel like this team is a championship type of team. Definitely not a playoff or national championship type of team. And I think most of us believe that. I think a lot of us don't want to believe in it, but for the most part, most of us do believe that this team is not a championship type of team. We'll be lucky to play for a SEC championship, in my opinion. Do we have a big chance of playing in the SEC championship? Yeah, if we can go ahead and knock off Auburn and Ole Miss. If we beat Auburn and Ole Miss, I think we got it in the bag. I think if we beat Auburn and Ole Miss and it's not like a lucky win, I think we got the rest of the season in the bag and we have nothing else to worry about outside of getting into the SEC championship. But if we don't, then yeah, we're in the world of trouble. If we lose to either one of these two games, we are in the world of trouble. Because if you lose to Auburn, you definitely in trouble. It ain't. I wouldn't even say it would be that bad losing to Mississippi. Losing to Ole Miss, but if you lose to Auburn, it's gonna suck. It's all gravy. Said they young, don't expect much from this team. Yeah, I know. That's the main. I won't say excuse, but that's the main thing that a lot of people are relying on, the fact that they are young. And that's what a lot of people are using, that they are young. And I can agree. I can agree that a lot of these guys are young, but at the same time, these guys are very, very, especially the defense. You have nothing but 4 and 5 stars over there. You know what I mean? So we're expecting these guys to do 10 times better than what they doing right now, even with some of the young guys. You know what I mean? Just like with guys like KJ Bolden, like he's been doing pretty good. But then you got guys like Dalen Everett that's been around the program forever and a day that ain't doing really too much of nothing. Then you got guys like CJ Allen that'll make some plays this game, maybe not make no plays the next game, then come back, make some plays this game. And then, Raylan Wilson, I just feel like I was asking in the live prior, like, who is beside CJ Allen? Who is the linebacker besides CJ Allen? I know at one point it was Chris Cole, and then it turned around. They moved Chris Cole to the edge because they couldn't get no pressure on the quarterback. So then they put Raylan Wilson there. But then it's like, man, I don't know, man. It's just no real consistency. Mac said, I don't think we are a championship team either. I would love to be wrong though. Yeah, I would love. I love to be wrong also, man. But I think I'm right on this one. It's all great. Said I expect CJ to be more of a leader. I expected that too. I expected CJ to be a leader as well as Dalen Everett. You know what I mean? Those two guys were the main guys that I thought that was going to step up and lead this team. You know, lead this at least the defense, right? But we're not seeing that. Like I don't even know who's leading the defense. You know, like when we had guys like N'Kobe Dean, we saw the leadership in N'Kobe Dean. We saw the leadership in guys like Nolan Smith and just a bunch of different Roquan Smith. We saw leadership in those guys. We saw them getting on other players if they didn't do their job. But we don't see that with this team. Like, not at all. On either side of the ball. I don't feel like either side of the ball has enough aggression, in my opinion. Like I said, I kind of tend to shy away from the offense because the running backs are doing great, So I got to give them all the flowers because they are doing great. It's reminding us a little bit more of, us being RBU again, and we can definitely see, like with the offense side, like you got Chauncey Bowens and you got Josh McCray. When Dwight Phillips was playing, I don't know if he's still on the injury or if he's coming off for this game. Then you got Nate Frazier. Those guys are promising, and it shows. But when it comes to the defense, we don't see anybody that's really promising. We thought we saw it in KJ Bolden, and we do see flashes in KJ Bolden. I feel like he's going to be a great player for the University of Georgia. But I just can't say the same for guys like Ellis Robinson. Yeah, running backs is killing it. I love it. Yeah, they definitely are, man. That's why I kind of stay away from the offense. I kind of still talk about Gunner from time to time, even though he's not the problem. I don't think he's the problem. I would say if he really was the problem, but he's not the problem. And like I said, if y'all wanna chop it up with me, man, you can tap in, man, 803-563-7193 if you just want to chop it up about whatever, you know what I mean? But yeah, like, I don't think Gunner's the problem at this point. I haven't seen anything to say that he is the problem, but I'm still going to critique him because he's not, to me, he's not elite. You know what I mean? He's not a guy that I could see us winning any championships with, really. Not this season. Not this season. Maybe next season when we get completely healthy. And what's so crazy, guys? This season was one of the most craziest seasons in my opinion because I could have sworn that everybody outside of like maybe 4 players, everybody was going to come in healthy. And that's what I was leaning on for the most part, that everybody was coming into this season healthy. All of the receivers that we wanted to see, all of the running backs that we wanted to see, everybody was coming. The defensive players was coming in healthy. So I was assuming that this team was going to be blowing lids off. I'm not going to lie. Every game I assumed that we were going, especially the schedule that we got, I didn't feel like it was that tough. I wasn't concerned about Tennessee. I wasn't concerned about Alabama, nor Kentucky or Auburn. But when the season started, it was just like, whoa, this is not Georgia football. Not at all. 73 on the O-line is so damn trash. The O-line, I think, stepped up a little bit. The O-line is getting a little better. Gunner Stockton is not out there getting sacked 4-5 times a game or nothing like that. Now, we did see Oklahoma's defense sack Jackson Arnold like 5 to 7 times. We did see that. Could we take advantage of that? We could, but do we have pass rushers? We don't. So it's just a tough situation all the way around for us. In a lot of games that we should be able to take advantage of certain situations, we can't take advantage of because we just don't have a complete team. But like I've been preaching, and I'm going to continue to stress it on my channel, that 2026 will be a better season. And like I said, and I'm going to say it once again, I spoke about this before the season started, that the 2026 season, I see that season being way better than this season. And that was before the season started because I knew I knew how young we are. But I still didn't think we were going to play like this. I still didn't think that we were, going to end up in this type of situation. But at the same time, I called that, man. That 2026 is going to be that year that we'll start looking more like Georgia. O-line did improve from last year. Gunner hasn't been getting sacked much or throwing a lot of interceptions. And 225, girl, I'm not even speaking on the improvement from last season. I'm more so speaking on the improvement from like the first couple of games, right? So we had Warren Gatson. He was out at one point in time, and Ernest Green, and we was kind of hit with a situation where we didn't know what we was gonna do. You know what I mean? And it just was we was in a tough situation starting brand new guys. So I'm not really talking about the last season, but as far as this season goes, in the first couple of games, I feel like we got better. I feel like it was nothing stopping Gunner Stockton from throwing downfield against Tennessee. I don't feel like it was nothing stopping him from doing it against Alabama nor Kentucky. There's no defense that I felt like we couldn't handle all season, this whole season. Maybe in the first couple games it looked kind of shaky because guys were injured, coming into the season. But as if today, I haven't seen a defense that I could say, oh man, yeah, man, especially with a guy that supposedly can run. You know what I mean? I haven't seen not one defense that I feel like, oh, they're going to shut Georgia down. Now, Ole Miss defense look like they got a possibility. They can possibly shut us down. Ole Miss, they look like they can possibly shut us down. But the games that we've played this season, I have not seen not one game this season that I felt like, man, they defense just too good. I ain't seen not one game that we've played, And honestly, outside of Ole Miss, I don't see no other defense that I think can really shut us down on offense. I don't think that nobody can do it. Definitely not Tennessee, not Georgia Tech either. I think Georgia Tech, for the most part, they're going to dominate on offense. But yeah, we have so many weapons on offense. They just need to let them loose and do their thing. Yeah, like we say, man. And like I say, it's not necessarily an excuse, more so than it's just an honest assessment that the guys are young. This is gonna first start, and he's playing like it, in my opinion. It's a lot of guys first time starting, and they're playing like it. Did we think they would be more elite? I know definitely I did. I thought they would be more elite than what they're playing, but it is what it is. This is what we got. And this is what we working with. I see a lot of people that's checking the live out, coming in and out. A lot of people scared, to call up and chop it up. Or maybe you just ain't got nothing to chop it up about and you just want to kick back and watch the live. So, that's cool too. But like I say, and I continue to let y'all know the number, 803-563-7193. Max said, I feel you on that. I haven't seen it either. Doghouse. Yeah, like it's sad, man, to really see these dogs play at this level, but we'll be good, man. It's just we not used to it. That's all it is. We just not used to it. When you're not used to seeing your team play this way, you tend to overreact about situations. And I really do think it's mainly overreactions. Could we play better? Yeah. Could the play calling be better? That can be better. I think that may be an issue. Like I told y'all once before, like if we get to the end of the season and nothing has changed with the way we've been playing on offense, I'm with y'all on the whole let Mike Bobo go. I'm with you on that because like I told y'all, and a lot of people are starting to say the same type of thing. It's becoming to look like a buddy system over at Georgia where, you got all your buddies. And I know a lot of times the coaching staff does do that when they come from other programs. They come with guys and they bring guys with them, just like Kirby did when he brought, Glenn Schumann and, Dan Lannon and, all of those guys. I think maybe even James Coley. I'm not even sure. But, that's what they tend to do. They bring over guys that come from other programs, and for Kirby's situation, he was at Alabama. But I just think it's time to just stop worrying about friendships and start worrying about the fact that this is a business and we got to do what we got to do to be better. This offense has been playing it has been playing vanilla. I would agree with all of y'all that say that it's been vanilla, and I'm ready to see something different. At least, and I don't even want to talk about Todd Monken, because I know a lot of people gonna start, oh, when we had Todd Monken, we did this, and we had Todd Monken, we did that. But the only reason I'm bringing up Todd Monken is because when we did have him, he did give different looks on the offense from time to time, and he also got his tight end open. So that's one major thing that I feel like is an issue. The fact that we're using our tight ends for blocking, and it's an issue. It's a problem. We using these guys for specifically blocking and not using them to go out there and make catches, and that's a problem, man. That's a problem. You got to utilize these guys, because guys gonna eventually want to transfer. We got like two, or we got like what, two like highly recruited tight ends. You know what I mean? I know like 2 or 3, right? We got like 3 of them, right? I know like 3 of them had to have been 4 or 5 star guys, and we got at least 2 tight ends that's 4 or 5 star. No, nothing less than that. Nothing less. It's all gravy. Said it's been a buddy system at Georgia, and they bring their kids as well. Facts, because Bobo definitely did with Drew Bobo. You know what I mean? Even though Drew Bobo is pretty good, so I can't deny that he's pretty good. But at the same time, hey man, I'm sure that he wanted his son to start, and to start for a team like Georgia where he played at. Like it makes a lot of sense. Like, so like I told y'all before in the live, it's a win-win situation for Bobo. He's the OC. He got promoted to the OC job, and then he turned around and his son is starting center. So it's like it's a win-win situation for him. Just like DeBoer, he brought most of his staff with him to Bama. Yeah, that's just how every coach do. 225 girl, you know that every coach do that when they get the head coach position or head coach job. I'm sorry. That's the first thing they do is bring their team along with them. They might bring a couple of new guys here and there, but for the most part, whoever that was with them at the last team they was with, they bring them along to the new team, and that's exactly what Kirby Smart did. And it worked out as long as Dan Lanning was there. It worked out with Will Muschamp. I think Will Muschamp might have came over with Mike Bobo, because if I'm not mistaken, Bobo was the OC at South Carolina before he came back to Georgia. So I think he might have came with Will Muschamp, or Will Muschamp came with him. However, we missing some pieces, I think, when it comes to coaching also. So just like we can call out the players for the mistakes that they make, and we can call out a lot of other things, we can also call out the mistakes that the coaching staff is making, because it's just not happening right now. It's like it's the defenses is looking sluggish as hell. Like they don't even have the energy. I don't know if Glenn Schumann can do it by himself. I think he need a guy like Dan Lanning that's fired up every game and emotional, and we rarely even see Glenn Schumann half the time. And for Kirby Smart to be on that defensive side every single game is an issue for me. That's a problem. And I know he did it. Even with Dan Lanning, he did it in big games where we just needed to win. But at the same time, it's been seeming like every single game, Kirby Smart is having to go over there and help coach up the defense. And it's like, damn, what's the point of a defensive coordinator and everybody along the side of him if you got to always be over there? Now, I know a lot of big games that really matter. Kirby Smart is gonna go over there, no doubt about it. But certain games like Kentucky, where he's over there, on the defense side, and I'm like, damn, he got it's pointless to have a defensive coach. Delp and Lucky are good as hell, man. Like I said, our offense really can carry us, but they keeping it vanilla for whatever reason. The vanilla part, I think, come from the OC. I think that's where that part come from, because he's the one drawing up these plays. He the one calling these plays. But like my guy said at work, man, he said, but you got to think too. He said, you got to think too, Major. Even though Bobo is calling these plays, Kirby Smart got them headphones on, just like that play with Cash Jones. When Cash Jones got hit behind sticks, lost yardage, Kirby Smart got them headphones on to switch that play up too. So we can't always screen. That's why I've been saying from the beginning, We can't always be screaming Mike Bobo when when you have the guy that actually hired him and that's actually got him at the OC job. You can't always scream Mike Bobo when he can obviously switch up the play and say, hey, that don't look right. No. Put Josh McCray in. No, we don't need Cash Jones. Put Josh. Like, he could have adjusted that, but it didn't happen. So it's like we gotta fault him also, you know. But this is the time. Like, this is it. Like, we're criticizing everybody. Like I said, ain't nobody safe. Everybody is gonna get criticized this season, you know, because I feel like it only makes the team better. Because do y'all really think that they don't hear us? That come on, man. Y'all got to be crazy if you think they don't hear us. They hear us. They hear what we're talking about. They know what we're talking about. All of these kids are on social media. You know what I'm saying? Even some of the adults, they are on social media. Maybe not Kirby Smart specifically or Mike Bobo specifically, but they are on social media. They're hearing all of the talk. You know what I mean? And they know that we expect more and we expect greatness. But this is the season to do so. Next season, we may not even have to have these type of conversations. You know what I mean? But this season will be the season where we're going to continue to critique this team in order for them to get better. It is what it is. It is what it is. You know? I just hope that they do get better. That's all I care about. Them getting better in every single way. That's all I care about. You know, even like I say, even with me and my feelings on Gunnar Stockton, I still want to see him better. Even if he does have to start for us. I know most of us want to see Ryan Puglisi, excuse me, y'all. A lot of us want to see Ryan Puglisi, including me. But at the same time, Gunnar Stockton is the one with the experience, especially after this season. So my thing is, if he comes back, play for us next season, then maybe we can see a changed man or a changed player. But we still want to see Gunnar Stockton. Some of the Dawg players follow certain Dawg podcasts, bro. Yeah, 225 girl, like, don't get it twisted. Like, they in the press conferences, they talk like as if they don't hear the talk, but they hear it. They trust and believe they hear it. Like I told y'all before, I've been following a lot of the players for a long time. I follow these players on Instagram. These guys are on social media. So they can say that they don't really be listening to the outside noise, but they do. You know what I mean? They just programmed to say that. Like, the coaching staff programmed them to say that shit. You think we need to bring back Buster? Yeah, I think that'll be a good look. Honestly, you know, we just need somebody that can draw up some plays to throw the defenses off. Like, we don't need those. You know, we don't need these play calls where it's just so photographic. Like, it's so easy to read. Like, you know what I mean? Like, defenses don't have to worry about nothing with Georgia because they already know what's coming. They already know these three backs that y'all got. Y'all going to utilize those guys. We're going to force y'all to throw it. You may complete a couple of passes, but for the most part, we know you're gonna run the ball. When you get down and out, get your back up against the wall, we know you're gonna try to utilize your running backs. That's what most coaches as well as teams is thinking when it comes to playing the University of Georgia. That's what they see. Hell, that's what I see. If I was an opponent, that's what I would see. Like, we know y'all are one-dimensional at this point. We know y'all can make a couple of little throws here and there, but for the most part, all we got to do is force you to throw, and we know we could maybe come out with the win. You know, but like I say, Gunnar Stockton have made some throws downfield, and I was like, okay, that's a good pass. But if you're not consistent, what does it really matter? And then, like I say, what does it matter in practice? Practice does not matter to me at all. What they do in practice does not matter. I've seen so many podcasters talk about this the last couple of days. And I'm like, what does it matter how good they do in practice? What does it matter what Kirby is saying about what they do in practice? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, if it ain't resonating on the field game day, then what does it really matter? So at the end of the day, I just look at it like that. I don't really care as much about what they do in practice because it's got to show up on Saturday. It have to. You know, because then I'm not thinking that the coaching staff is lying. I don't think that they're lying at all. They may see a lot of talent in practice. That may be a real thing. But if it ain't showing up against SEC opponents or any opponents, if it ain't showing up, what does it matter to even speak on it? I don't know. Maybe that's why I don't come on here every day and talk to y'all about Georgia, because maybe, just maybe, I'm not looking for any old thing to point out to try to convince you that this team is better than what they is. Because I'm not going to convince you that this team is better than what they is until they start playing like that. You know what I mean? I'm not even in a convincing game over here at the Doghouse. I'm in a reality game over here at the Doghouse. So that's all I do is speak reality. So if you're not looking for reality talk, then this probably ain't the channel for you. Now, I know most of y'all that participate in the chat, I know most of y'all rock with me, and I know most of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about as far as, just knowing the reality of the team. Like I always say, could they be better? Yeah, I think they possibly could. If Coach Kirby Smart is saying they doing well in practice, I think they probably could be better. But is it showing up week to week? No. I think we need to get creative with our pass rush because we're not really winning our one-on-one on the D-line. Nope, not at all. That's one of our biggest issues. We're not able to pressure not one quarterback. Ty Simpson had so much time. He could sit back in the pocket, eating him a sub sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Take a couple of selfies, all of that. He could do everything that he wanted to do in that pocket. The pass rush is obsolete. There's no pass rush at all. Practice, Mondo. Shout out to Mondo. Hey, yo, make sure y'all hit that like button too, man. And you know what I'm saying? Make sure you hit that like button because that definitely get us in the ism. So make sure y'all hit that like button when y'all walking in and out the live. Mondo said practice don't mean anything unless it unless it be done on field. That's big facts. That is big facts. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to dog Kirby for saying what he's saying in the press conference, and I'm not trying to dog these podcasters for rebuttaling what he's saying. Or not rebuttaling, reiterating, and going over that what he says. I'm just specifically saying, like Mondo was just saying, if it ain't showing up on the damn field, then what does it matter? Like it's pointless to talk about it. That's why I don't talk about that shit. I don't be talking about what Curry be talking about in them press conferences, because if it's not showing up on the field, then what's the point of us talking about it? We only talking about it right now because I'm against what people is promoting. People are promoting what he's saying and not saying that what he's saying is a lie, but you promoting something and all you doing is like, bruh, I'm not going to do that. That's our coach. We love him, but I'm not going to sit here and make videos and go live and talk about how great this team is in practice. You know how goofy that looks? That's goofy as hell. Oh, they're good, but they're only good in practice. Just like in the offseason, everybody was like, oh, yeah, Gunnar Stockton this, Gunnar Stockton that. He's playing against one of the best defenses in college football. Man, please. Now y'all know. Now you guys know. Because this team is far from the best defense in college football. Super far from that. You said, why is Taylor ruled out for Saturday? Maybe that injury still got him out. I don't know. I ain't seen too much on Taylor. You know what I'm saying? I've been seeing everybody, like mainly the O-line. I've been seeing a lot of talk about the O-line, but, I don't know why Taylor is out. Does he make a difference if he's in? He could be some help, but does he really make a difference? But I don't know, man. I have to look more into that. That's a good question. You said OG Stoney said right, that's madness. Yeah. Like, bro, I'm for real talk, man. I don't got time to sugarcoat nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about business, you know what I mean, on my channel as well as these dogs. You said I didn't know he was injured. Who you said? Taylor. Oh, yeah, Taylor. Yeah. No, he not injured. My bad, y'all. My bad. Not my bad. I thought he was saying somebody else. No, I don't know why he ruled out, bro. That's a good question. I'm going to have to look into that. 225 girl said he recently had a minor surgery or whatever had injured him in that Bama game. Yeah, see, I'm all mixed up, man. I'm all mixed up because I could have sworn I heard something about him getting injured, but then again, it's like you look at different reports and it's like you have different players that they showing as injured, but sometimes they don't add certain players. So it's like they'll have this list, but they won't have the whole list. So I guess it depends on what source you're getting the information from. That's why I was telling y'all, like, I don't really look at other channels no more because I don't feel like stuff is really authentic. I think a lot of times it's just I don't know. I just don't look at other channels as much. I don't even look at Kirby press conferences no more like that. I don't even look at Kirby press conference no more like that. What real intel are we gonna get from him? Like, Kirby is just one of those coaches where he's just not letting a lot out in the press conferences. Half the time it looked like he don't even want to be there, you know? So it's just like, you know, I don't even watch those because it's not very much information I can get from it. Only information that I can get is from what I see week to week. And that's what I rely on. You know, like when you if anybody know about journalism, they always say like, you know, the most important information. It's some saying like the most important information is your own information. The best research is to get the research for yourself instead of somebody else's, you know, perception or information. Because a lot of times when you get it from somebody else, it may not be real. Like, you know, I still utilize Dawgg Nation, you know, and still read out of their articles and stuff like that. But, you know, for the most part, even with Dawgg Nation, I talked to one of the guys, man. I can't remember who it is. I have to go back and look at my Instagram, but we talked about, you know, Jay Lamar, and he was saying, you know, one of his homeboys actually is on the coaching staff down there in Colquitt County, and he was telling me Dawgg Nation is basically not false advertising, but it's just like clickbait. Like they just using that story for clickbait. So, you know, the fact that Jay Lamar is back with the team, and that's what I've been told, that Jay Lamar is back with his high school team, you know, and I don't even think Dawgg Nation is actually even covering that. So my thing is, you cover the situation about, you know, him getting shot, and you know, but you don't, and you cover the situation about him getting in trouble in school and getting put off the team, but you don't cover him getting put back on the team. And if that's true, which I believe is true because I have a valuable source, so if that's true, then why not cover that? So that's what makes it so hard with these sources, because everybody has an agenda, you know. And that's one thing about me. I don't have an agenda. My agenda and my only thing is dedicated to the Georgia Bulldog. I don't have no specific agenda. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. You know what I'm saying? So for me, for the most part, all I'm doing is kicking back, having fun with y'all, you know, week to week. You know, that's what we doing. And we definitely going to have fun 7:30 Saturday night, you know, when we live for the watch party. What y'all said? Even though the players in the press conference say they say the right things, but you don't see it on field. Right, you know. What's going on, Hank? Hit the like button as y'all walk in, man. Hit that like button. Kirby Small, absolutely nothing. I'm just up here so I won't get fined. For real, Kirby don't be want to say nothing. Kirby be like, what? Kirby like, I don't even want to be here, man. Like, what questions you got? Like, because I really don't want. I've saw so many press conferences where I felt bad for the reporter. Like, Kirby makes the reporter feel so small. I've seen so many press conferences where I'll be like, damn, like, he was just asking you a little question, Kirby. Like, bro, like, Kirby be aggressive, man. Like, but it's all good, man. That's still our head coach. We gonna ride or die for him. You know what I'm saying? Because we got that red and black running through our veins, and we gonna ride or die for that, man. So it is what it is. You know, you just got to get the information how you get the information, you know? And they ask the same question over and over again. Hey, they do be asking the same questions, but sometimes I feel like they be asking real good questions, and Kirby just kind of be swerving them sometimes. He just be like, you know, like he tired of being there. And I know especially for seasons like this, he do be tired. He gets stressed out from the game, and then I got to come and talk to y'all and talk about all of the things that we did wrong, but you asking the question about it, and he's the right person to ask, but on what went wrong and this, that, and the third. But it's a tough job to have when you're a head coach and you got to get asked questions on all of these different little questions about what you didn't do or what you did, what you didn't do. So it's just like, I understand it, but that's why I don't, like I say, when I come to y'all with content, it's just stuff that I done dug up for myself. I really don't utilize other sources that much, because it's just hard to, just like I said with the Jay Lamar situation, how they talked about, how, and I think that's the purpose. I think with Dawg Nation, that was the purpose, to talk about all of the bad things, because they know all of the arrests we had. I think they said since 2023 we had 25 different drive related arrests. So I think for Dawg Nation, they they in the business of just like a reporting team. They putting out the content, and they want people to get interested. So that's what they did. But I don't see anything, or haven't seen anything yet, speaking on the fact that he might have got voted back to starting for well, not starting, but being back on the team. And it is what it is. Like I say, I'm not in the business of confusing y'all or trying to make y'all think that this team is no better than what they are, and trying to make y'all buy into something. All I want y'all to do is stay positive in the chat, laugh, joke, have fun, and that's it. And we all dogs over here. So that's really what I want at the end of the day from this channel. But at the Hank said at the same time, they are just doing their job too. Yeah, that's all it is. That's all we all are doing. I saw somebody in my comment section that saw my last live about Jay Lamar, and the comment he said was, "What him getting shot got anything to do with him playing?" And I guess what he was saying was, what does him getting shot have anything to do with him still playing for his high school or start? And my thing was, I'm like, dude, did you not watch the full video? Everything about that live was about me just bringing something to y'all's attention, because I know that we have a lot of issues. Same thing that Dawg Nation did. They reported on it because they know that we have a ton of legal situations with these players. So they reported on what went on with Jay Lamar. The only thing about it is, if you're going to report some of the bad things, you got to also report the good thing. And the good thing was that he is back with the team. But that's something that I feel like, it is what it is. If they decide to report it, I'll report it on my channel. But dude said what he said, and I felt it wasn't really no need to comment back, so I just disliked his comment. So I didn't have the energy to send nothing back, because I knew what I was doing in that live, and I knew that whole live, I stressed the fact that I understand where people come from, and I understand that people come from different upbringings and backgrounds, and I never try to criticize him, and I never try to belittle him or nothing like that. But at the same time, we have to talk about this, because we have been having this issue, and when we recruiting guys, we may possibly need, that's something that the fan base need to know about, so they won't be clueless, and yeah, just so they won't be clueless on what's really going on. So, a lot of people gonna hate, a lot of people not gonna like what I say, and I understand. I understand. But yeah, people just doing their job, and I'm just doing my job. I'm just coming in and reporting the facts to y'all. Also, this channel is sponsored by tequila, because that's what I'm on tonight. So I took some time off of work. So yeah, that's what I'm on tonight. And hopefully, I don't know, maybe tomorrow I'll go back live tomorrow. Maybe. I'm not sure what I'm gonna be doing, because my son's birthday is today. The place where we was gonna go today for his birthday is closed, so we just gonna go tomorrow. They open up tomorrow, so we gonna do it tomorrow. So yeah, I might take that back. I probably won't be live tomorrow, because I think it opens up at like 5 or 6, so I'm gonna be out doing that tomorrow. But you can definitely catch me live for the game. And Hey, Mondo, if you still in the live, bro, I hit you on IG. What's going on with you, bro? I hit you on IG. You probably don't use it as much, but I did hit you on IG. But like I said too in the last live, man, if y'all want to get at me, y'all want to follow the channel, man, make sure you follow me at the Dawg House _ Yeah, man, my son Major, man. Yeah, his birthday is today. Yeah, appreciate that, OG Stoney. Will you ever cover NFL football? Go Falcons. Um, I'm not sure, Hank, and I only say that because I have built this channel. I started this channel a couple about 3 years back, and I put so much into the Dawg House to where it's gonna be a hard to kind of do the Dogs and the Falcons, and the Falcons be pissing me off so bad to where I just don't even want to talk about them. You know what I'm saying? But I would if I didn't put so much into this channel. But I devoted so much time into the Dawg House to where even if I did switch over, I'm sure that people gravitate towards it. But you have a lot of people that's Dawg fans that's not fans with the Falcons or of the Falcons. Now, if a lot of the Dogs were fans of the Falcons, then it definitely would be hand in hand. But outside of that, yeah, I would, and I want to, but that would cause for me to do I would have to do a whole nother channel, because most people, when they come to the Dawg House, that's what they want to hear, because they know that I devote the channel specifically to the Dawg. That's why I really don't cover nothing with other players, because like I said, it would take a lot out of me with my everyday life to try to put together a bunch of content about this team and that team and this, that, and the third. So I mainly focus on what matters the most, and that's the Dogs. Happy birthday to your youngin'. Hey, I appreciate that too, Hank, man. He just turned 5 today. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my son Major. He just turned 5 today. Little Major. Anyway, I'm Big Major. He Little Major. So anyway, man, hey, man, I appreciate y'all for jumping off in the live once again. Mondo, like I say, bro, I hit you on IG, man, whenever you get on, man. You probably don't use it that much, but whenever you get on, you'll see my message. But, man, everybody that jumped off in the live tonight, it's supposed to be in a call-in, but nobody called in tonight. It is what it is. We'll try. I probably will go, when I go live, hold up, 225 girl said, I gave up on the Falcons after 2016. Now the Dogs won. It's like whatever with the Falcons, for real. Sometimes it really, that's how I feel too. Yeah, can't wait till I move back to GA. Okay. Happy birthday, little man. Appreciate that. But yeah, man. I'm just sitting here thinking while I'm live, man, real time. I probably will do the call show while I'm live Saturday. So if y'all, that'll be the best time to do it too. I'm gonna hit you up, bro. All right, hit me up, Mondo. But that'll be the best time, I think, to do the live, to do the call-in show while I'm live. Because, man, I know everybody and their mama going to want to call up and talk. I already know it. So, yeah, that's what we going to do. I'm going to call in next, big dog. Yeah. Make sure you do that, man. Make sure you do that. But Saturday, I'm doing the call show. I'm doing the call show Saturday while the game is going. Yeah. I'm doing the call show while the game is going. I think that's the best time to do it. I think that's the best. And I'm going to continue the call show also. I'm going to continue doing it because I feel like it's when the last person gave me the idea, because I had already done it before and Mondo, he called in. But when he gave me the idea, because I forgot all about it, but once he gave me the idea again, I said, okay, yeah, this is something that I really want to get back into. So we definitely going to do that Saturday night, 7:30, Georgia versus Auburn. We on the road and we got to kill it, y'all. We got to kill it. So shout out to every single person that commented and every single person that's always participating in the comment section. I know everybody don't want to participate. Some people just want to lay back and watch the live, and that's cool too, man. You know, it is what it is. But I appreciate everybody that tuned in, everybody that stay rocking with me, still rocking with me. I'm rocking with y'all. Shout out to y'all helping this channel grow. My last video went up also. You know, it did some good numbers, so I appreciate y'all for tuning in on that one too. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, y'all know what it is and who it is, man. And we out this thing. Go Dogs.